Today we are comparing the most awaited phones for 2018. That's the iPhone XS, the iPhone XS Max, and of course we have the original iPhone X as well. We'll take a look at the design, the new processor, what's new in the cameras, and whether you should upgrade to the new iPhone XS. Nandu, I think, is using the iPhone XS Max. I'm upgrading to the iPhone XS, and I've been an iPhone 8, iPhone 7 user for a long time. In fact, I prefer the 4.7 inch screen. A lot of people will be like, oh my god, bezels, but you know, it really doesn't make a difference because this is of course a much bigger phone. But yes, it does look exactly like the original iPhone X.
It is the iPhone X with an upgrade. It's changed the camera, it's changed the processor. So technically it is the iPhone XS.
So which one would you pick between the iPhone XS Max and say the iPhone X?
So I naturally gravitated towards the iPhone XS Max because I've always used a large phone. And for the iPhone X, I actually came down from the 8 Plus to the smaller but with the larger screen iPhone X. Now the XS Max is giving me the same size and the same, the feel of the 8 Plus. And I like the large real estate, the extra real estate. I do read a lot, I do use multiple apps, which actually uses that. I use the camera a lot. So I really like the XS Max, but I don't think it's for everyone because it is a big phone. So Apple is calling it its largest phone ever, which I don't think is right because the 8 Plus is pretty much the same size, but it definitely has the largest screen ever on an iPhone.
So can you also talk about how it's similar to the iPhone 8 Plus in terms of size? Because I think a lot of people are thinking 6.5 inches, oh my god, that's going to be...
No, so it
even
is...
because Samsung phones I think max out at 6.3, 6.4. So this is slightly bigger than that.
So the 6.5 inches actually from corner to corner. And what Apple has done is Apple has taken out the top and the bottom of the 8 Plus. So it actually has more real estate within the same chassis of the 8 Plus, almost like to the millimeter the same size as the 8 Plus.
Would you say it's much heavier phone because that was also being discussed that it's going to be a little heavier than?
It's slightly over 200 grams, and I've just used the Note 9 also, so it feels the same weight. I actually like a heavy phone now because it gives you a bit of stability in your hand. I don't know why. It doesn't feel plasticky. It feels like something, it's the same feel as with the camera. You like heavy cameras, It gives you a sense of security. I get that with this phone.
Okay, so let's talk about what's changed with the cameras because for the user, I think you might not see much difference, say if you have the iPhone X because it's still a 12MP plus 12MP camera. But let's discuss what Apple is changing in terms of how they are processing images because it's, I think, getting closer to how the Pixel series actually, processes images.
So the biggest thing which people have not really been talking about is that the biggest changes are happening at the pixel level. So Apple has made the pixels larger and the pixels deeper. So it means that it's a much better camera in low light and you can actually see that in the results. The other big thing is how the sensor engine has changed and how the A12 Bionic chipset and the neural engine is sort of all worse. So there's a lot of processing happening. Apparently 1 trillion things can be done in a second as soon as a picture is clicked. And that you can see because there's a lot of processing that happens in actually giving you a final image. So with every photo, Apple has enough data to do tons of things even after the picture has been saved.
In fact, what they're doing is they're taking multiple shots of the same photo and then merging them together to ensure that you have the best highlights. In fact, it's much better in
This
HDR
is not
also.
something really new.
It's not
this
new
is something I
technology,
remember HTC had done, can't remember what they used to call it, but done about 3-4 years back.
But we've seen
Apple is doing it in an instant, because the processor is much faster than anything that's ever gone on a phone before.
And like I said, it's also being seen on the Pixel 2, which has been considered a very, very good camera. In fact, a lot of people thought it surpassed the iPhone. So let's also talk about how Apple has changed the portrait mode in the iPhone XS. Because you can tweak it now after you've taken the picture, I believe.
You can change the depth of field very easily on a shot, and but this works only if you have shot the picture in portrait mode. This again is because the two cameras are taking multiple pictures within that one split second, and it can move from option A to, let's say, option E as easily as by moving a slider. This is because all that data is already processed and patched to that picture by the time it is saved.
Again, we've seen that in Samsung phones. I think they
Yeah.
let you adjust the blur, but we'll have to test it out how well Apple
Yeah.
is doing this, because this can be a bit tricky since it is driven
What
by
I've
software.
seen is very good, because usually when this is done, what happens is that the
the edges of the object are
that is
blurred.
not happening here, and you can see the difference only in the background. The other interesting thing is smart HDR. So HDR is nothing new.
Yeah.
HDR has been there for quite some time. So because again Apple has so much data with each picture, what it is doing now is the smart HDR. For instance, if you're shooting against the light, which is supposed to be the worst thing you can do as a camera, so you would earlier get a silhouette. Now, technically it's not possible to get a silhouette with a iPhone XS, because it is going to give you detail from the foreground as well as the background, and that has never been done on a phone camera before.
And that's what we saw when they
Yeah.
had the demo. That picture
Yeah.
was quite stunning. You usually don't get that kind of effect, say, with a smartphone. So that's
So
what
as
we're
a
looking forward
photographer,
to.
I am a bit unsure whether I'll be able to take a silhouette anymore, because I'll automatically end up getting details on the foreground.
So now let's talk about the A12 processor. What's changed out here? Is it going to make a big difference in terms of performance?
It is going to make a huge difference. It is the first 7 nanometer processor. It automatically means that it is going to have more transistors. It's going to do a ton of things just on AI and machine learning, and it has separate parts of the processor which can just do this even as other things are happening as it could. So this means that when a developer is making an app, he can go the full way in adding machine learning features to his app. Earlier he would pull back because he knows that the processor cannot attempt a lot of these things. Now a lot of it, because it's become 9 times faster in processing machine learning things, and at the same time it is going to use only 1/10 of the power as the earlier version. So you will see a lot of developers going the full stream as far as adding machine learning or AI integration into the apps, and AR also. So even now you can see a lot of AR apps have been updated, and the features, the graphics that is available on AR is now going to be way ahead of what we've seen before.
And let's not forget about the Bionic engine.
Yeah.
Now it has 8 cores compared to the
Yeah.
A11 chipset, which had 2 cores, which means this is also, I think, one of the first neural engines to have 8 cores. I'm not sure about that.
So
but it also means like faster processing
Yeah.
for AI, much better for machine learning tasks.
To give you an example, I saw a demo where there was a kettle which was virtually brought onto a table. The kettle or the object had a metallic finish. So the kettle is virtual. I'm keeping a phone next to the virtual kettle. A reflection of the phone appears on the kettle. That kind of processing, which is using every part of the phone from the camera to the processor, is really amazing. I've not seen something like that before.
Yeah, and I think it'll mean a lot, especially if you like to use those AR gaming apps.
Yeah. And also with shopping, retail is going to change, because if you are buying again that kettle, you know exactly how big it is in relation to, let's say, the pot you have on the table.
Let's hope that at least Indian app developers also use that, so that we can also get some of those experiences. I think battery is also significantly better than the previous series, but
from
not
the
as
10
much.
to the 10s Max, there is an
1.5
improvement.
hours.
It's 90 minutes more with all the hardcore processing that's happening, with the better screen and the better camera. So that's the way you have to look at it. From the iPhone 10 to the 10s, there is no battery improvement.
Yeah.
But the 10s Max, because it's also a larger phone, houses a larger battery, and there will be significant improvement.
Let's talk about whether you should upgrade to the new iPhone XS or not. Who do you think is the ideal person to upgrade to?
So if you are on iPhone 10, don't upgrade. This is an upgrade. This is not a new, this is an S series, as Apple used to call it. This is an S series phone. For an iPhone 10 user, wait 1 more year and look at what Apple gives you next year. If you are on iPhone 6, 7 and maybe even 8, this is a worthy upgrade.
I'm not sure about 8 plus users, because
8 plus I'm also not very sure.
Because you're getting I think a
Yeah.
similar experience with the camera. You might not experience such a big jump or something so drastic. Though
No, camera they might, because again the 10 also had some elements which the 8 did not. 8 series did not have.
It did not have OIS.
Yeah. So if you are on 8 plus and you're thinking of upgrading, you're thinking of upgrading primarily for the camera.
Yeah, that's true. Finally, let's talk about the prices because I think those
Yeah.
are a major point of contention this time. Remember, there's also an iPhone 10R which hasn't yet launched.
Yeah.
That's only coming in October, and that's starting at I think at 76,000 plus.
76,900.
Yeah, so that's almost 77,000.
Yeah.
This is starting at 99,000,
Yeah.
and that's 1 lakh. I
This
think
is
like
one,
1 lakh
almost 1 lakh
nine-
10,000,
yeah,
then 1 lakh 24, 1 lakh 44, depending on what
So
the
size
storage you want on it.
You
See,
can get
stop
it for
thinking of Apple as a company that's going to give you a cheap phone. It is not going to happen, and that is the truth. Because Apple has very clearly found this niche in being this ultra premium producer of smartphones. And look at it, there is no other company which plays that game anymore, and Apple is going to play it even more and more. It knows that increasing the price does not kill demand, which is how we learned economics. Apple has sort of started going against that rule of economics. And so don't think of Apple giving you a cheaper phone. You should still consider iPhone, and the way to consider iPhone is to look at EMI, and Apple is bringing in a lot of packages that will actually make the phone more accessible for the Indian users.
It's actually the older models that are going to get
Yeah.
more affordable, and one of the things, in fact, that they've done with iOS 12 is that they've ensured that the performance will not suffer on, say, an iPhone
Yeah.
6s or an iPhone 7, which used to happen, I think,
Earlier,
a lot, because when people would upgrade and they had a very old iPhone, it would,
So
there
it's
would
going
be
to be
lag.
pretty much
So
the
that's going
same
to change,
experience
yeah.
and same features across all the phones that you have.
And I think even if you go with a 6S or a 7, because that will now be much more affordable.
The 7 is a
performance
very
will
good buy
yeah,
right
in
now
fact,
because
yeah.
it's still a very good phone.
It's under 50,000 for the 7 Plus.
And it will last
around
you 2-3
40.
years, please.
And if you wait for, say, the Diwali sales, which will come, you will get discounts
Yeah,
on the...
yeah.
Keep in mind that the iPhone 10 has officially been discontinued, though you might still find it online.
It will be available till stocks last.
Yeah, but it's still retailing at 90,000, which means you might as well get the S.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
you're paying just 9 more, and
Yeah.
it's unlikely that you're going to be getting this on EMI.
A detailed review will follow soon by next week. Till then, you know everything you need to know about the two new phones, the iPhone XS and the iPhone XS Max.
And of course, yeah, keep in mind that they're actually going on sale in India on September 28th. The global sale is actually on September 21st, but in India, pre-orders will open on September 21st as well.